The Secret History of Wonder Woman by Jill Lepore is a book I found at a thrift shop for $4, so I decided to check it out. I think I saw this book once before at the library too, but I'm a huge Wonder Woman fan, so I wanted to check out the book, obviously. This book is written by Jill Lepore. She is a staff writer for The New Yorker, as well as author. I think she's also written some Wonder Woman comics. I'm not 100% sure. But anyways, this book looks pretty intimidating. I mean, look at it. It's really super thick, but it's actually only about 300 pages long. This book is really dense. It's full of facts because she did all of her research, and she did it with the blessing of his descendants, Moulton Marston. So, just to get into the sort of details of it, the book only starts to talk about Wonder Woman comics and the creation around the 180 page mark to about page 250. So out of the 300 pages of this book entails, only 70 pages talk about Wonder Woman and the design, where, you know, all the costume, all that stuff. The rest of it is just the information. All of the stuff, very salacious details about everything. It's a little dense. It's a lot of facts in there. It can feel a little bit clinical at times, but I was fascinated. Basically, the first chapter talks about Moulton Marston and like a sort of biography chapter, and then we get his wife, and then he also had a mistress, and he had a second sort of wife. He was a polymath. So he had a voracious love of multiple women. He also had like 4 children between the two of them, and they had their cover story. So all those interesting details about his personal romantic life, and there's also his personal life, his academic pursuits. They go into a lot of all the different jobs he did, all the different attempts. He liked to toot his own horn, and his wives would do the same thing. They would have this really hilarious thing. It's the equivalent of like you directing a film, releasing it, and having your father give it a glowing review, but no one knows it's your father, and then and then putting it on like a site or something. They did a lot of that, just for fun, to sort of boost their own egos. But the three of them did a lot of writing together. They're very intelligent people. They had a lot of stuff going on. So the first couple chapters are kind of slow because you're getting like literally everything from Moulton Marston's like childhood to details about his wife and his wife growing up, and then his mistress, and then of course there's also he's Margaret Sanger. There's a lot of stuff. She was the birth control advocate who had a really big chunk of the book is there too. Her niece is Olive Byrne. And she is the second wife of Moulton Marston. So, I mean, including like Wonder Woman, which is only 70 pages of the book. The rest of the book talks about like his sort of invention of the lie detector test, which is something that he came up with. And there's also his other goals of academic things, like he taught at a lot of different schools. He wrote a movie that also played at the same time with Buster Keaton's stuff. And he wrote for more movies and things like that, and he had his fingers in a little bit of everything. He wanted to write for things, he wanted to get famous, he wanted to do this and that, and he finally sort of hit his stride with Wonder Woman, and they go into great detail about like how popular it was and like the history of comic books at that time, how they used it for propaganda. And there's also some more interesting facts in there too, like Marston had a trouble with employment because he was a champion for gay rights a little bit. He tried to release a paper talking about how being gay or a transvestite or having S&M kinks is not really abnormal. And I guess he was vilified for it. So there's a lot of interesting little tidbits like that in the book that you don't really get unless you read it. A lot of people just assume that, Moulton Marston was, just a kinky guy. So that's why Wonder Woman's always chained up in the comics. But no, he actually had a lot more subtext going on. He wanted to like show that women could always break free from the confines, and the chains were a metaphor of, toxic masculinity and pushing down the women's movement. So he was a feminist at heart, and he lived a very interesting and vivid lifestyle. So the book is definitely very dry and fact-based. I mean, there's so much in there. They even like go into like what grades they got and what year in school. And sometimes it's a little bit too much, but overall, it's a very interesting read. I really enjoyed it. So I definitely only recommend this book if you are interested in the topic. You have to, you know, if you don't even like Wonder Woman, then you probably won't like this book. But only a small, 70 out of 300 pages are about Wonder Woman, the comic. So the rest of it's other stuff. So if you're not interested in that, then maybe don't check it out. But I really thoroughly enjoyed this book, and I give it a 4 out of 5. One more note I wanted to say about the secret history of Wonder Woman is that there's this chunk in the middle of the book with color comics with sort of cliff notes. Don't read that section, because it gives you all the spoilers of what happens in the rest of the book. Not the Wonder Woman comics, I mean, but there's like this 4, 5, 6 page spread of the different comics, and like little notes of like Wonder Woman, how the comic sold and how it was reacted to by fans and things like that. That section, don't read it till the end, because I found myself getting bored in the second half of the book, because after that section you're sort of rereading all the same stuff. They shouldn't have put all those notes in there, but just a quick note for that.